So my daughter Teen has had a best friend, Mare, female teen, since she was 9 years old. They were so close Mare had a key to our house and everything. Sometimes she would come over when my daughter wasn't even around, because that's how close she was to the rest of our family. She even went with us to family reunions. Well, recently Mare got a boyfriend. She would bring him around to our house sometimes, and I could tell that my daughter had a crush on him, but I assumed it was small and innocent and nothing would come of it. Well, one day, Mare pulled into our driveway like a crazy woman and accidentally hit our garage. When I came out, she had boxes of stuff and was shaking so bad she could barely walk. When I looked inside the boxes, they were all my daughter's stuff from over the years. I'm talking about toys that she still had from when they were 9. I didn't know what happened, but I could tell she was distraught, so I helped her get all the boxes out of her car and pulled her inside for a cup of tea. After about 15 minutes, she said, "Did you know?" It turns out that my daughter had slept with her boyfriend multiple times and that she found out by a voicemail my daughter left her boyfriend that Mare saw and listened to. When I confronted my daughter, she had no defense. I asked her what was next, and she said that she would get with him because if she didn't, they ruined 2 relationships for nothing. I was and still am appalled, and that was 5 months ago. Soon my family and I are going on a family vacation, and all my other children's partners are invited. But I told my daughter that hers wasn't. She blew up at me and then cried. When was I ever going to forgive her? I told her it would have been one thing if she'd slept with her boyfriend once. It still would have been terrible, but at least she could have learned from her mistake and grown. Instead, she slept with him multiple times, and the fact she's still dating him proves she isn't sorry for what she did. My husband says that this treatment of her relationship will only cause a strain on our own, but I just can't believe how selfish and cruel she's become. I've spent thousands of dollars on this trip. I think I have the right not to invite people I don't want there. And I'm sorry, but 5 months of her new boyfriend isn't going to erase her 7 years of friendship with Mare. I still talk to Mare sometimes, and she's doing a lot better now, but her mental health was ruined when it first happened. And even as she's doing better and going to therapy, the mental effects of this level of betrayal are probably going to last years to get fully over. She says she's still hurt by what happened. Every time I look at my daughter, I'm honestly disgusted. This is not the type of person I raised her to be, and she's not sorry for any of it. I refuse to walk around on eggshells around my daughter and her boyfriend for a vacation I'm paying and chaperoning for. Just seeing them together makes me sick. So, am I the idiot here? Ha ha ha, so not the idiot. This wasn't a stupid one-off mistake. This was a calculated action. Normally I'm one to blame the cheater and not the other person, but in this case she knew he was in a relationship with her best friend. This was malicious because she wanted the boyfriend for herself. You also shouldn't be surprised when a few months or years down the road she comes crying because he cheated on your daughter too. When I found out my brother was having an affair with a married woman, he was single, I warned him that if she cheated with you, she would cheat on you. Of course, he insisted that their relationship was different, that they were in love. They got caught, her husband kicked her out, then they moved in together. One day, he got home early from work and found her in bed with his friend even 6 months later. As they say, karma is a witch. Everyone's the idiot here. OP, you're running the risk of completely alienating your daughter. What she did was wrong, and I get your reaction, but if you continue down this path, you will lose any ability to continue guiding her and teaching her right from wrong. As wrong as this is, it's not the sort of mistake you should be punishing her for, but unfortunately, to be human is to make mistakes. You need to help her learn from this one. It would help if you talk to her. You need to explain several things. So this is a pretty simple one, I think. My wife, 39, and I, 39 male, are going through an admittedly messy divorce. I thought everything was fine with our relationship until my son, young teen, told me that he walked in on her cheating on me with our next-door neighbour's son. 20-ish, I think. It's been going on for a year now. Obviously, I do the expected thing and move out and file for divorce, since she'll probably end up with the house. The thing is, my son wanted to come with me. I made him stay with her till I got a place lined up, but ever since he's been living with me and is refusing to spend time with her or even speak with her. The entire time I've been supportive of this. She's scum as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see why I should try to convince him otherwise. Custody came up in the divorce, we're both requesting primary, and when it came to asking my son what he wanted, he said that he didn't want anything to do with my wife. Since then, my wife has been plastering all over social media that I've been poisoning him against her, which is causing a lot of other family members and others to get on my butt about it. While I wouldn't say that I've been poisoning him, I haven't exactly been trying to get him to think better of her, which is what some of my family members and friends are angry at me for doing. My sister especially has been on my butt about it. She tells me that I should be telling my son off whenever he expresses how he feels about his mother, and that I should be encouraging him to sort things out with her and see things from her perspective. While I understand that this would help him get some form of relationship back with her, I honestly don't see how it's my place to do that. My wife cheated on me for a college kid and threw our son and me away for it. So I don't see why I should be helping her to get away with this regarding our son and his feelings about the situation. My sister and everyone else I've shared my thoughts with are calling me a major idiot for it. So I'd like to see if others who don't know either of us agree with them, or whether or not it's just a microcosm of our social group and family. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. OP, what your wife did was hideous and your son witnessed it himself. So you're not poisoning his mind. His mom did that all by herself. But your child definitely needs therapy, and I think it would help you both to get into therapy. As for the family members who are blaming you, tell them to mind their business, or you'll cut contact with them too. I personally am not in favour of social media smear campaigns, as it does more harm than good and can easily get out of hand. So block and ignore your ex. Other than that, try your best to get full custody of your son, and don't pressure your son to start having a relationship with his mom again. He can do that if he wants to down the road. Exactly. As long as OP isn't actively trashing his ex, then he's just being a good parent and listening to his kid vent. I can't imagine how traumatic it was for the poor kid to see his mom in bed with a neighbour who's not much older than him. So completely understandable. He needs to distance himself from mom at this time. OMG, you haven't got your son to therapy yet. In a year, he has discovered his mother cheating, watched his family explode when he told you, and has his parents fighting over him while his life has entirely changed. It's clear that neither of the child's parents has their best interests at heart, and while ex-Mrs. OP was a bad wife, OP is a bad father by not getting his son to therapy for what has been a very traumatic year. I, 18 male, have never had a great relationship with my brother, 26. We don't hate each other, but we aren't close. He's married and his wife has recently got pregnant. We had dinner at my mom's house to congratulate them. My mom asked them if it was okay if they let her in the delivery room. They said no, and that was the end of it. They left soon after, but I didn't think anything of it. A week later, I found out that his wife felt disrespected by this. They said they didn't want any contact with my mom for the rest of the pregnancy. I thought this was ridiculous, but I didn't say anything. My mom is sad about it, but she hasn't contacted them since. My brother recently invited me to his baby shower. I told him that he needed to give me a good reason for treating our mother like this, or I wouldn't go. He couldn't give me a reason, so I didn't go. 2 days ago, he asked me to meet and talk with him and his wife. I agreed, so we met up at their house. They explained that his wife felt very disrespected by my mom. She said that my mom had no right asking to be in the delivery room. They also said that I have no right to hold that against them. I told them that I didn't care who they had in the delivery room. If they don't want mom in, it's fine with me. I told them that punishing her for the asking was just ridiculous. They then asked me if I really wanted to be in the baby's life. I told them that I would choose my mum if I had to choose. A couple of people have told me that I'm an idiot, but I don't think so. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I can understand her being offended. Folk can be offended by whatever, and that's on them. But you're right in that punishing your mom simply for the asking is wrong. Like, if literally all she did was ask once, they're being ridiculous. Now, if mom were pestering them relentlessly about it, that would be a different story. It sounds like they wanted to line up a new free babysitter because they chose to argue with mom over nothing. I think that's why they're pushing OP to be in the child's life, because they need free babysitters and just angered the person who would have provided that. The couple is the idiots here. Going no contact because mother-in-law asked is just ridiculous. I think many people are using the no contact card in a very bullish way to create rifts and make big statements when low contact would keep the situation drama-free. I suspect there's more to the story than this, and they did not go no contact just because mom asked to be in the delivery room. My spidey sense tells me that this was the proverbial straw. I'm giving you not the idiot regardless, because I think it's sweet of you to stand up for your mom, and I think they're over the top if it truly was just because mom asked to be there. But I'm of the opinion that one does not solicit an invitation into someone else's delivery room, not even if it is their child or their child's partner giving birth. You either have to be there because you're giving birth, or your presence is a foregone conclusion because you will be a parent to the child and the person giving birth wants you there, or if you are a requested support person by the person giving birth. If you have to ask if you can be there, you are not invited. My wife and I have been married for 16 years. I'm a 42 male and she's a 41. We have 2 teen girls. Soon after we were married, we kind of made a deal. My wife is huge into scrapbooking. It's her thing and I'm glad she enjoys it. She told me that about once a month she's going to kick me out of the house so that she and her girlfriends can scrapbook together, drink some wine and just have fun. I told her fine, just as long as she understands that every so often I'm going to want a golf, hunting or a fishing weekend with my buddies. And as long as it's not interfering with something important, or I don't do it too often, I don't want to get a hard time about it. I still remember the conversation and her saying, yes, fair deal. Over the years, she's definitely made me hold up my end of our bargain, which I've had no problem with. And when our girls came along, it gave me the chance of either bringing them over to my parents or visit their grandkids or take them for pizza and ice cream and catch a movie with them. So it's created some very fond memories for me. But now the girls are getting older and usually go to a friend's house or something, and I usually end up going to see a movie or having a couple of drinks at the bar by myself. As far as the guys' weekends that I'd originally envisioned, they haven't really panned out that much. Most of my old buddies from back then have scattered, and we don't really keep in touch that much anymore. Bottom line, I just haven't had nearly as many guy weekends as I thought I would. However, I've picked up new buddies over the years at my job, and one thing we like to do is have poker night reasonably often. We've never had one at our house, and recently I volunteered it. When I told my wife about it though, I got pushback. She's kind of a homebody and said on Friday night after a long work week that the last thing she wanted was to get kicked out of her own home and have to go figure out something to do with herself. I reminded her of all the times I'd been kicked out so that she could scrapbook, but she responded that this was different, that there were years of precedent for it, and that I'd agreed to it. But she said that she'd never agreed to let me host poker night for the guys. It turned into a pretty big argument. She's kind of unfair and selfish as far as I'm concerned, but I can't argue that, at least technically, I've agreed to getting kicked out of the house for scrapbooking, while she never agreed to getting kicked out for poker night. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your wife is being selfish. You've done it for years and even turned it into memories with your girls. Your wife needs to return the favor. It doesn't matter if she previously agreed to it or not. One rule for her and her friends when it suits you means you are entitled to ask for the same now and again. Everyone's the idiot here. Why does either of you have to leave your home? Why can't you just make a new arrangement now that the person goes into a different room, watches TV, plays video games, or just stays out of the way? That's the normal way that this is handled. I simply don't think either of you should have to leave your home for the other to have some friends over, and you guys need to renegotiate this weird deal you have. I, 32 female, come from a family of 3. Paul, 34 male, John, 27 male, and me. So if there's the family's black sheep, it's me. My family has never come to terms with the fact that I'm lazy and I get along well. I am, so I look for ways to do what I want without putting full effort into it. When I started college, I found an internship that paid reasonably well and was chosen. They tried to fire me, but after a few months they hired me again because they couldn't find someone who did so well. I saw an opportunity to grow, and for many years I worked hard, and I'm proud to say that I'm currently one of the company's partners that started as an intern. I worked 6 days, 12 hours, and now 3 days, 7 hours, and without being greedy, I'm very well paid. Paul decided to focus on his student career and is currently working on his PhD. In my country, the student grant is at most 2 minimum salaries for a PhD, and the city that has the university has a very high cost of living. So Paul lives with my mother, who doesn't charge rent and does all the housework. Paul has always been the most academic, workaholic, and smartest. Living with parents who compare their kids sucks, and has always thought of himself as the best of his brothers. He's living with my mom and getting underpaid, and it's a sensitive topic. Last week I went to a family dinner, John's birthday. I told them about the trip I had to take out of the country for work and extended it for 2 days to enjoy the place. My brother interrupted me, who asked about the trip was my stepfather, and I was answering, and said, "I don't know how you manage to get along in life being lazy. I wish I could do nothing like you." I laughed out loud and said, "The lazy one who owns a car, has a house, travels internationally for work or pleasure at least once a month, and helps mom and dad. Yeah, lazy, but at least rich." My brother freaked out. John was laughing in the background. Well, 30 minutes later I had to go to my hotel. My mom says she won't have any more family dinners until I apologize. My dad agrees in part. John says it was the best thing Paul could ever hear. But tell me, am I the idiot? Extra. He tried to cut down my job by saying I don't work very hard and he doesn't know why I earn so much for it. Not the idiot. I don't know how you're lazy when you work so much. He's probably jealous because he's still supported by his mom. He's the lazy one. Please don't apologize. He insulted you first, and if you apologize now, it will create a precedent that he's allowed to do and say anything while you just have to roll over. Tell your mother you expect his apology, not the other way round. Not the idiot. OP, making life choices that minimize stress and maximize your finances is not lazy. You have different priorities than your brothers, and you don't need to be reprimanded for it. You played your cards well and put in hard work when necessary. The truth can be hard to hear, and it sounds like your brother, being the favoured one in the family, has clouded his perception and his attitude towards others, it seems. You say you help your mum and dad financially, I presume. So your mum is willing to exclude you from family dinners but take your money? Okay. I hate parents who play favourites. Big surprise that the only girl and middle child is the family's black sheep. You didn't start it. Paul started it by calling you lazy and saying you do nothing. Don't expect someone not to go on the offensive when you say stuff like that.